Hello, and welcome to the next video in the video series, The Right Thing to Do, Enhancing Academic Writing Proficiency. My name is Wendy Zimmer, and I am a PhD student at Texas A&M University, and this is video 5 in this writing series titled Making a Writing Plan, or Make a Writing Plan. And this video focuses specifically on how to plan out your writing projects so that you are not overwhelmed, that you have easily attainable chunks of time and tasks to make any writing activity a success. And so I hope you stay tuned and you follow me through this lesson on making a writing plan. All lessons in this video series are based on the work of Dr. Pat Goodson and her Power Writing. And you will notice in the bottom right-hand corner the Power Writing logo. If you are part of Texas A&M University, then you may be familiar with Power and all of the wonderful work that Dr. Goodson does for graduate students in writing. But if not, you can always go to power.tamu.edu to learn more and to find out how the system works on A&M's campus. And if you're not on A&M's campus, then you can learn a lot from these videos. So I hope you enjoy today's video on making a writing plan. I start every video with a brain dump, and the idea behind a brain dump is that in order to write and be as productive as you can possibly be, you have to get all of those things out of your mind that get your attention away from writing. So you might be focused on what you're making for dinner, or homework you have to do, or even the next paper you have to write. But none of those things are important for what we're doing right now. So if you'll take a second, when you're ready, pause this video, make a list of every single thing that's on your mind that you're thinking about, or you're worried about, or you're processing. And then when you are done, hit play and we will keep going. Now that your mind is freer, you can focus on writing and get all those distractions out of your mind that kind of take over our day-to-day lives, because part of writing productivity is really being able to get rid of the distractions that keep us from write and inhibit our productivity and allow us to focus. And while this video is not on writing habits, that is an earlier video in this series that if you're interested, please tune in. I always want to remind everybody of writing habits. So have you scheduled writing this week? Are you writing daily? Are you logging your writing? And do you have an accountability partner? If you did not, and you need one, there is my email. Please email me. I would love to be your accountability partner. And if these questions don't make sense to you, or you're confused, like I said, go to previous videos and I will help walk you through developing writing habits. Because everything else I teach you from now on only works if you have strong writing habits. So definitely start there. Now, I want you to take a second to think about these questions that I have proposed. And generally, this is done in a free write type situation. So if you have time, I would love for you to set a timer for 3 minutes. A timer is one of your best friends when it comes to writing. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Write for the whole 3 minutes, whether you're answering these questions or if you're just writing, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, why am I watching these videos, whatever those pieces are. And then after 3 minutes is up, you'd be amazed at how much you write. But if you don't have time, I want you to think about these questions. What kind of writer am I? Do I procrastinate? Do I get my writing done early? Why? Why am I a procrastinator? Why do I get my writing done early? And then what kind of writer do I want to be? And hopefully as we walk through this video series, you will learn more about yourself as a writer, because you are a professional writer, whether you admit to it or not, and especially if you're in academia, grad student or faculty or staff or any aspect of academia, you are a professional writer. But think about who you want to be, and chances are you don't want to be a procrastinator. You want to be able to get writing done early in a manner that you don't feel overwhelmed and you don't feel stressed and you don't have high anxiety. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you have time, set your time for 3 minutes and pause this video and come back. If you don't, just think about those things as we're working through today's video. Part of making yourself a more productive writer is developing a writing plan. And I'm going to show you an example of one of my writing plans. And the idea behind a writing plan, and I popped out of the presentation real quick, so I apologize, but I wanted to show you some things. Part of making a writing plan is taking your big project, So the macro aspect of your writing, and breaking it down into little bitty chunks, little bitty attainable chunks. And so this example that is in front of you is a paper that I was working on. It is now it's been submitted for publication, so we'll see what the reviewers say. But I had this paper that I needed to write. And if you think about paper as a whole, that's your big macro writing task or your big macro writing project. It's very overwhelming and can be just stressful and make people sick to their stomach or make you want to eat or all of those pieces because of the personal and often difficult nature of writing. And so you start with your big macro task, which for me was, I was playing with titles, so either using technology to manage individual feedback on reading for ELL and native English speakers, or iPad's the answer to making collaboration, differentiation, and feedback attainable in the reading classroom. And I need a catchier title because neither one of those were working for me. Again, just getting down your ideas. One of the amazing things about writing is it's truly a process for learning. And when you get your ideas down on paper, you really develop stronger ideas. But I knew what my objective was going to be. And so I started by thinking about the whole writing task, again, that macro piece, and what little chunks I could break it down into. And so I needed to establish some kind of research question. I needed to create my matrix, take notes, which matrix is actually developing a reading matrix is going to be the next video in this video series. So stay tuned for that. I needed to locate and read previous reviews and reports. So I needed to do my research. I needed to refine my research question. I needed to read. I needed to look at themes, logic model, again and again. I'm going to go through this whole process. And what I did is, thinking about those small chunks, I created a writing plan for myself. And this is what it looks like. And I'm going to walk you through today how to do that on your own. So if you're thinking, I don't know how to do this, don't worry, I'm going to take you through it. The first thing is when you are developing a writing plan, you have to think about your guidelines. You have to think about what it is that you want to do. And so the spreadsheet that I'm about to pull up is just a list of possible tasks that you may need to do when you are writing a paper. So research questions, and these are similar to what I had on mine. Creating a matrix, doing research, refining your research questions, identify themes, outlining, drafting, revising, rewriting, editing, formatting, all of those pieces. Okay? And these are not by any means the whole list. This is not an exhaustive list of all of the things that you may need to do when you're working on your project. You may still have some research to do before you can write. You may have some meetings that need to happen before these pieces come into play. And so there are other parts to this, but this is just a basic general list of things that need to happen, those little tiny chunks in your writing process. And so when you think about those chunks and all the things you need to do, then you begin by really scheduling it out. So you think to yourself, okay, when is this paper due? When is my writing, if it's a paper, if it's a report, whatever it is, when is it due? And then create a chart, and you can use Excel, you can make a table in Word, whatever you want, and list the weeks that you have available, period. So this is just a 3-column table. I put the weeks I have available, I leave a space for the task I'm going to do that week, and then I am a checklist kind of person, so I like to give myself a spot where I can check it off when I accomplish it. So that's your first step. Your second step is to block out 1 to 2 weeks at the end for a buffer, because things happen and stuff comes up. And if you are writing collaboratively, you're not always in as much control over the schedule as you would like to be. So give yourself a few weeks at the end as buffer in case things happen. Because best case, you're done 2 weeks early. Fantastic. Worst case, you're not late. So give yourself a buffer at the end where you do nothing. Or this, in my case, week 10 might be submit. because all I'm literally doing, I'm finishing it week 9 and I plan to submit it on week 10. Then you fill in all of those little tasks that we've been talking about. So when I was developing this plan, I went back to my list of all the things that I thought I needed to do in order to write this paper. And then I divided them out into weekly chunks. And when you do it this way, it seems so much more attainable. So like week 1, all I had to do was identify and narrow down my question for this manuscript, because I was looking at a specific journal, so I wanted to make sure my research question fit with what the journal was asking. And then I needed to research articles. That's it. I wasn't reading anything. I wasn't writing anything. That's all I needed to do that first week. And then the second week, I was going to create a matrix, which again is going to be in the next video, so hold on for that one. And then I was going to begin reading the articles that I found and taking notes. Okay? And I broke things down into tiny chunks, because keep in mind, part of the most difficult thing about writing is it seems so overwhelming. You have this huge macro task of I must write this manuscript. That's 30-something pages, 40-something pages, 50-something pages, so many tables, so many figures, whatever that looks like. And your brain has a hard time processing all of that. But when you break it down into tiny chunks, you think, that's not too difficult. It's not going to take me that long to do that piece. And when you've done that piece for the week, you can either decide I'm done, awesome, or I'm a little early, maybe I can get ahead on what's coming up. And by doing those tiny little chunks, you become much more productive and you enjoy the writing process more, which is also important. Okay, so if we go back to my writing plan, which is still pulled up here. Okay, that's exactly what I did. Now I put submit into week 9, so I technically had 2 weeks off. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of inside information. I actually did end up submitting at week 10. I had to push some things down because of what was happening, and it took me longer to do a few of these pieces than I thought. And with each writing plan that I do, they get better. And so I start better understanding myself as a writer and how long it takes me to do these things. And part of that is due to my writing log. So if you don't log your writing, it's very difficult for you to know how long it takes you to do certain tasks. And if you are not familiar with writing logs, please go back to a previous video and you can see how to log your writing, and I give you a template to make your life simpler. But now that I log my writing as much as I do, I know how long it takes me to do, say, a reverse outline, or I know how long it takes me to edit my introduction and those pieces, at least an estimate of how long, so that I can do a better job of estimating how long my tasks are going to take and break them down by weeks. And so again, I'm not getting ahead of myself or I'm not getting behind, but I'm able to accurately estimate and predict how long my writing is going to take. Dr. Pat Goodson, who, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, is my inspiration and foundation for all of these pieces, and it has taught me a lot of what I know, if not most of what I know. Talks about the fact that she's done this for so long, she knows exactly how long it takes her, say, to edit someone else's paper or to give feedback on an introduction in those pieces. And she not only uses that for planning her own writing, but she uses it when people ask her for help. So if they come to her and say, Dr. Goodson, would you mind giving me feedback on this? Or would you mind editing my this? Or would you mind, would you like to be a co-author on this? And she can look at her calendar and go, yes, I have time to give feedback on Thursday because I know it takes me an hour and a half to give feedback on that. Or no, thank you very much, but I'm not going to be a co-author on that piece because I know it takes me so many hours to write a manuscript and I don't have that time in my calendar at this point. And so because of that, and because she's been logging and understands those pieces about herself, she's able to plan much more effectively. I am not that good yet, but I am getting there. So, just kind of in summary, write daily, log your writing, and through that logging, you better understand yourself, like I just mentioned, and then you can use that information to develop a writing plan. Because when you have a writing plan, you know what to write about when you write daily. You look at your writing plan and you know this is what I'm working on today. these are the pieces that I'm tackling this week. And then as you log your writing, you can really understand this is how much time this part of my writing plan is going to take. So make sure you're writing daily, at least 5 days a week, about 20 to 30 minutes a day, at least, and log your writing and develop writing plans at the beginning of your big writing tasks so that you are not overwhelmed. You are not binge writing and doing everything very last minute and procrastinating, but you are able to enjoy the writing process because you are proud of yourself and you feel accomplished and that you produce something that is just absolutely beyond what you realize that you could do, which is completely possible if you follow these simple steps that I am giving you. So thank you so much for watching this video today. The next video will be on creating an article matrix, which is fantastic and a great way to organize your reading and your research to then use in your writing. So I hope you stay tuned for our next video, and I will see you then. Bye.